Yo, yo. What is good, y'all? What is good, man? What is good? Welcome to another show. This is season 1, episode 5 of Getting in the Green with Perfect Strangers. It is your beloved host, Daryl, and I got my partner with me, my partner in crime. Back in the day, we used to call it PIC, Corey. Corey, what's good with you, brother?
Not much, man. It was a interesting night of basketball last night, to say the least.
You want to ruin my mood already, huh?
Hey, I was on the San Antonio DFS players, and that did not pay out.
Yeah,
So,
man. All right. So if we're gonna just be in a bad mood already, just to start the shit off, let's just do it right then. NBA sucked for me yesterday. Had some really pretty big locks, man. In which I was really confident on them. You know, you have those days where you're really confident and then it just all goes to shit. That's how my day was yesterday. 6 picks, went 2 and 4. Crazy day in the NBA. Let's tap into it right now, man. First game we did have was Houston at Cleveland. Didn't even step on Cleveland, Corey, because we were kind of during another show I was on. We got the Mobley news, right? And I was like, okay, we're not stepping on the first half or the first quarter. That game seems like it can go to Houston's way. You have two hot teams playing right now. And I didn't step on it, and they just went crazy. They went
it looked really
crazy
good.
again. First quarter, first half. What'd you think about that game?
Yeah, Cleveland they're for real, man.
Bro,
The advantage they have, even losing one of their big guys, is you got four more.
more bigs.
There's so much depth in that aspect of it. Now,
Yeah,
if Garland's out, it's a different beast because they don't have the ball handlers to back him up. But
right.
and you got Allen, Love, Markkanen. I mean, these guys they're stacked down low. So Cleveland looks legit, man. In Houston, without Eric Gordon, all these guys, they just can't score. They can't score.
Yeah, yeah. You did lose Wood at the last minute, right?
Yeah, and I think he's slim chance to play tonight as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that team is kind of decimated now at this point. Um, They held them 16 points in the first quarter, which was crazy to me. So I didn't get it. I didn't get how good Houston's been looking for their stretch of their 7 games they had won, and now they're just back to Houston, right? So Houston's gonna Houston. The next game, man, was the Atlanta at Orlando game. That game was 111-99. Atlanta did what I thought they were going to do. They got it done. It looks like it came really close in the first quarter. You know, they kept it close. Second quarter is when Atlanta got alive, man, putting almost 40 points up. And then they almost lost it to a certain degree, or maybe they just took took their foot off the gas with 18 points in the fourth quarter. What'd you like about that game?
Yeah, they looked good. I mean, I'm just not that impressed. I expected more against that Orlando team. They should have looked better.
Hmm.
You get it done, and you didn't burn anybody out in the process either. Nobody played too many minutes there.
Right.
It was just it was a good game. It was a nice win, and they kind of held down some of those young Orlando players. So
Yeah.
it doesn't change my perspective. I don't think Atlanta's making any kind of run here based off that performance, but
Right.
you
Right.
get it done on a given night.
It's Orlando.
Yeah, you
Come on,
gotta
you're
be this.
supposed to do that. Right, right. All right, man. Next game we did have Miami at Philly. We were both off that game, right? There was just so many moving parts there, even with your DFS. We didn't know whether Embiid was going to go or not. He did go to a decimated Miami team. They do have a back-to-back, right? They still stunk up the damn building. What'd you think about that game yesterday? Losing to Miami 101-96.
Philly, you just can't put your finger on that team right now. But I went back through, they just haven't scored recently. Like all their games are 98, 102, 96, 88, 102. They're just not scoring. They don't have the offense, the shooting to get there. Now, they play pretty good defense generally, but like given like a night like tonight where you're playing Brooklyn, they're going to score. You're going to have
Right.
to figure it out at some point. I don't care who plays, as long as Kevin Durant's on the floor for that team, they're scoring over 100 tonight.
Yep.
So yeah, they're a tough team to read, man. Embiid played and looked awful on the court. I don't know what made him think he looked good enough at shoot around to get on the NBA court because he couldn't move. If his guy ran along the baseline, he lost his guy. It was over. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
man.
gonna get out there to watch the shot. So Yeah, man, I'm not impressed with Philly right now. I
Yeah,
think you might need to sacrifice a week of games here, really rest these guys up, like really let him be healthy, and then
yeah,
roll in long term here. But if they keep trying to do this every other day with him, and he's just forcing that knee, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to bet on a team that's this inconsistent right now.
yeah, man. It's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult, but I get it. On other news, we do have the Toronto Raptors making it official that they are limiting their capacity to 50% in their arena, right? So the Scotia is now at 50% capacity because of this damn Rona. So we'll see what happens. We know that the NBA also talked with the NBA PA, and so we'll see what they have down the stretch here. Something's probably going to have to give and give really soon. Um, so looking at these games last night, we do have that thriller overtime with Lakers at Dallas. It was a push. If you got the 2.5, you were pretty good. We know that number was all over the place. I didn't want any smoke in that game because there were issues with practice being canceled. THT did go into protocol, so did Dwight Howard. What'd you think about that game, if anything?
I'm just pumped for the rookie, man. It's a big shot.
Yeah,
With all that star talent on the court, for you to knock down the game winner, man,
yeah,
that's big time. That's a big time moment for him. So, yeah, overall, I mean, with all the you know surrounding issues, they got it done, man.
they did.
And LeBron looks really good right now.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So,
Yeah, we talked about that too. Remember, we were saying this. Hey, this has got to be a Lakers side, right?
yeah.
So,
But
oh,
yeah, I didn't. We were worried about the COVID news, and it did hurt their depth. It definitely
mhm.
hurt them there. But they're a talented team, and anytime you got LeBron leading your team, you're gonna be in the game for sure.
We got to see if there's a trend here with fucking COVID, right? Because teams with COVID are like winning.
Yeah.
And that goes with the next game, right? We had Pacers at Milwaukee. Milwaukee got it done without the freak and without Middleton, right? Smacked the Pacers 99 to 114. It was pretty close in the first quarter. Milwaukee turned it around, was winning by 5 points. I was on Indy first half that game, so that was one of the ones that was right straight in the Basura. Yeah, no freak, still get it done at home. I understand, man. So, but another big game was the next game, and that is New Orleans at OKC, 113 to 110. Walking through that shot, bruh.
Oh man, it was insane. First, Shea's shot to even tie the game was insane, and then Devonte Graham goes from 61 feet to walk off.
Yeah,
OKC looks so demoralized by it. But then you kind of laugh and you're like, well, I mean, you're playing for draft picks at this point. Like, you want to lose. So just
yeah.
take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, it was a pretty epic walk-off three for Devonte Graham. That was a fun game to watch.
OKC has just mastered the art of tanking. You maybe thought it was Philly a couple years ago during the whole
Oh yeah.
process stint, but OKC has got this down to a T. Next game, I was on heavy, heavy, and they once again you had a decimated COVID team. Had some key players come back, smack the smack out of San Antonio, smack the smack out of them for real, bro. Whatever smack I thought they had, they didn't at home. 131 to 115. Any thoughts on that game?
San Antonio just didn't show up there, man. Um, maybe the resurgence of Mason Plumlee on Charlotte makes that a little better of a defensive team, but the fact that you can't score points, they looked. I mean, all those points came in the second half. They looked terrible in the first half. They
Bro,
couldn't hit anything.
nothing.
Um,
Nothing.
Charlotte looked good again, healthy for the most part, but they, still don't have LaMelo out there. So this team's on the up and up, but real bad look there for the Spurs to not be able to get this done at home after the long layoff. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
And
was
that's
on
what
him in DFS. Jakob Pertl scored like 12 fantasy points and just completely crushed my night. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, Hayward put up a 40
Ugly, ugly
burger.
night for the Spurs, man.
Did you didn't have Hayward in your DFS, did
No,
you?
I
Because
didn't have
he
Hayward.
put up a 40 burger like it was nothing.
Yeah, Hayward played great, man.
Another person who just put some serious points up, man. And they smacked the smack out of Denver. That is Minnesota. Went to Denver, went to that elevation and got him, man. 124 to 107. we've got to start talking about Joker and his DFS value. This guy is giving you points, right?
He's on an incredible pace right now. And I think some of it's just the environment he's in because we've got no Jamal Murray out there, no Michael Porter Jr. So he's just shouldering this load. But I mean, outside of maybe 2016 Westbrook, nobody's ever scored this many fantasy points on a consistent basis. And he's just doing it so efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. There's been guys that put up stats, but it's ugly. And usually, you'd say like great players get more efficient when there's talent around them.
Yeah.
It's the opposite for this guy. I mean, he's running out there with Will Barton is his second best player on that team right now. And he looks great, man. He's super efficient.
Yeah.
He's just one of those guys, man. He's also just so underrated and underhyped up by the NBA for as great of a talent as he is. And maybe they just can't market the guy, but I mean, they spent 5 years trying to tell us Michael Beasley was good, and anybody that watched clearly knew that was a lie. But the Joker can't get any kind of coverage here, so I don't know what their problem with the guy is, but man, he's not flashy. But the fact that this guy's not a superstar is they're missing out on this one, man.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Last 3 games, I did take Utah, so that was one of my give me Utah. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is, and that's exactly what they did. They're the only ones who put up almost $1.25 besides Minnesota at 124-103 to the Clippers. I was confident about that game. Portland also lost. That was a back end of their back-to-back to Memphis, who got it done in the second half, 113-103. And Sacramento came alive in the second half with them not being a second half team to beat Washington. For what it's worth, Washington is not really that good anymore like they were in the beginning of the season. So that ends yesterday's slate, man. Pretty interesting ball, man. Let's get into today's games. Today we've got 5 games, but we're only going to play 4 of them because we do have one postponed because of COVID. And that is everybody that's in Chicago right now has the Rona. Everybody. So that game is postponed. This Chicago at Toronto game is postponed. This is their second of 2. So we'll see what happens if they go back to the drawing board. But the first game,
off.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Detroit Pistons at Indiana Pacers. Okay, Corey. But even before the Pacers were playing their game, this was already at -10. Already at -10, man. I didn't understand this. I sent a tweet out about it. I was like, wait, well, why is this -10? Pacers are not even playing, or while they were playing. This line was already etched in stone. Hasn't moved. The over-under on this game is 210.5. There's no way in hell I'm going to touch the Pacers, but this is kind of how it's going to go, I believe. I believe the Pacers are going to get it done. Only because so many people may just be on the Pistons. Pistons already got them. I was looking at the back-to-back on this, or the head-to-head rather. They got them November 17th, 97-89. So they've already beat them. That line was Detroit +7, right? And now you're giving me Detroit +10 on a back-to-back for the Pacers after they already got smacked by a decimated Milwaukee. Not on this game at all. How are you feeling about this game, man?
I don't understand the hate here for Detroit, man. They lose Jerami Grant, and I think everyone expected this big drop-off, but I mean, Cade Cunningham is that guy as a rookie. So
he is, yeah.
He's that guy. You got Isaiah Stewart filling in for Kelly Olynyk. Looks good. Sadiq Bey. I mean, look, they're not the best team in the NBA by any means. I mean, but Indiana's coming off this back-to-back, and it's like, I don't know, man. I'm not giving 10 points. So
Right.
I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't trust Detroit enough, but if I had to pick a side between the two, I think Detroit's the play here, +10.
Yeah.
As far as DFS goes, man, not much I want from the Indiana side of things.
Not now.
No. And Detroit, man, if you can afford man, Cade Cunningham at 8,600 is a good spot. And then I think you take a shot maybe on like a Sadiq Bey. maybe a Diallo at 4,300.
Yeah.
But you're looking for value there on Detroit now that they got Jerami Grant out. But yeah, real weird line. I would probably say Detroit here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not with much confidence.
I didn't get it at all, man. I was like, let me be off this game totally. I mean, I was just looking at their last 3 points per game. Right now, man, Detroit is actually outperforming Indiana in points per game. Detroit right now in the last three, you're looking at 104.3, right? Indiana's at 101.
Yeah, Indiana's
I
having a
mean,
hard time
yeah,
scoring. They also have no depth.
none, right? So the injuries hurt. Their bigs are hurt at that. I mean, and like I said, you've got all this rumbling going. I don't know if there's distractions with this team. And we talked about a couple of days ago. Is this team on a fire sale right now because of Carlisle? Carlisle's still out, so you got Lloyd Pierce coaching, who was trying to coach for maybe a head coaching position, but he's kind of regressed very quickly. So yeah, I don't have any interest in this game, man, especially after me losing to them yesterday. But yeah, you're on a back to back. I'm over it. I am completely over it. The next game that we do have, man, is the Sixers at the Nets. I tell you right now, this is another game to where, well, of course, it's not going to get canceled, right? So you do have the people to play. Kevin Durant's going to play, but this is a back to back for Philly, right? So Brooklyn at only a -1 is baffling to me because we just talked about how Embiid is not looking like Embiid. It's his ribs. Um, Brooklyn just came off a great overtime game. Was that an overtime game? If I remember, yeah, it was an overtime game
Yeah, against Toronto.
against Toronto. KD puts up almost a damn 50 burger, and you're giving Brooklyn on a day's rest -1. I would think you would at least give them 3 on this, even with the decimated team, because technically Philly's in that same position. So I don't have a strong lean anywhere on this game as well. I believe this game should be a Brooklyn game, but you don't know it now. At -1 at that also, Corey, you would think that Embiid is playing, right? Because if he's not playing, no matter if Brooklyn's got 3 guys on the court, this line should be higher. But I don't have a play here either. I'm not going to bet Brooklyn with a decimated team, and I'm not going to bet Philly on a back-to-back like this against a hard squad, even though they're decimated. What do you think here?
I think Brooklyn all day, man. I don't think Embiid plays, and if he does, and he's that shell of himself we saw yesterday, they're in trouble, man. And as far as decimated as Brooklyn is, they're still rolling out talent.
Yeah.
They were just a super deep team of veterans, and the veterans are out right now. But we can't forget that Nick Claxton is an up and coming center in the league, man.
Yeah.
He's a beast. You got Patty Mills, who I've always liked as a guard, and then you got Kevin. You got arguably right now the best player in the league at home, off rest. Nobody on Philly can guard this guy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have a 50-point triple-double tonight. And so for DFS, Kevin Durant is the must pay up option. You got to play the guy tonight. I don't think they're getting anybody else back, so he's going to have to play regardless. I think they only got 8 players, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think Durant's a must play, man. Some of those other really cheap guys on Brooklyn become great plays, Claxton and those guys. And for Philly, man, if Embiid sits, I think Tyrese Maxey is a great play. If Embiid plays, I wouldn't touch anybody on that team.
Yeah. And the fact that Matisse Thybulle, as good of a defender he is, he's not getting you points. So he just always, yeah, he can't shoot for nothing. So it's like this guy is such a good player defensively, but he's like another PJ Tucker, right? You'll probably be lucky if you get 7 points out of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like him, but I do see Tyrese Maxey being a good option there. Yeah, it is. Do you think? Well, we talked about this also. Kevin Durant's going to be 12,000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's especially on a 4-game slate, and there's enough value in here because of COVID lately. Like, even if it doesn't meet the model where he scores 72, he's just a must play on a slate like this.
Yeah.
Even if he's 65, I mean, there's just not that many people. They're going to be up there with him tonight.
Yeah, this line is short, man. It's crazy to me. It's really crazy to me because with your key points there, you would think this should be an absolute blowout. absolute blowout with the scores that Brooklyn has. But to be -1, I mean, that's telling me that Embiid has to play. But you just never know. The NBA can be so tricky at times, man. Very, very slippery. So I'm off this game as well. But I would have to agree. My lean would be Brooklyn. But here's one of those things, man. If KD has to play, but if KD doesn't play, then you don't have the players, and this game is canceled.
Yeah,
So
so
we'll
he's
see what
gone.
happens here. Next game, man, we have the Knicks at the Rockets. Rockets are now plus 6.5 to the terrible Knicks. That total is 215.5. I'll tell you now, this is another game, man, where I really don't want any part of right now. The Knicks are coming off their loss to Golden State. I just don't feel good with the 6.5, to be honest with you. I know Houston has come off some key losses, man, and they don't have their set pieces. So you and I were texting, and you're like, bro, they don't have any scorers right now. They don't have any scores. But New York isn't scoring. They're not scoring. You know, you don't have Barrett there. You've taken Kimba out of the lineup. Evan Fournier hasn't become consistent with his threes. Neither is Julius Randle, right? You saw him kind of get moving in the second half against Golden State, and you're like, hey, somebody's got to get scoring, man. You were heavy on Kevin Knox. So, you know, he did, I want to say so, you know, with RJ Barrett being out. But yeah, man, right now, looking at the last game, they played November 20th. No, New York beat them by 7 points. So it's almost like they put the line right back where it needed to be. But you're talking about a terrible Houston team at the time, which you want to almost think that they're there again, back where they used to be. Hey, quick side note: did you see Silas leave the game?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I caught when I was watching League Pass, and he got up and left, and he gave the reins to John Lucas.
Hmm.
Which was weird to me. But I didn't dig deep into it. So I got to figure out what's going on. That I just remembered that. I wanted to see if it was COVID related, right? So I don't know why he got up and left. I don't know if he just had to use the bathroom or what, but it was it was very unusual that a head coach just leaves like that. He was not
Yeah.
necessarily escorted off the court, but he left during the game.
Hmm.
And he
Yeah,
pointed,
no, I didn't see it. But yeah,
yeah,
that'd be interesting to see if he gets
yeah.
into the protocol at this point.
Right. Let's just see. Let's just see if he had some kind of news or something like that. But we'll see. We will see with these lineups, man. If you know Houston, now you have players going into health and safety protocols. Houston in their last five have lost three, so they're 3-2, or they're 2-3 on their last five. They lost yesterday to a really good Cleveland team, man. They lost to Memphis and they lost to Milwaukee. They still have that win against Atlanta with that 44-point quarter, but they don't have scores right now. But I still can't give you 6 points on the Knicks. I can't, because the Knicks haven't really looked that good themselves either. I mean, they're coming off a 4-loss streak right now. Their last win was December 7th against San Antonio, 121-109. But they've lost to Golden State, they've lost to Milwaukee, they've lost at Toronto, and they've lost at Indy. What are your thoughts on this game?
Um, I want to see if Eric Gordon plays. That's that's really all it comes down to for me. If Eric Gordon's out, I think the Knicks take this no problem, man, because Houston just can't score with them. And that's saying something, because the Knicks aren't putting up an incredible amount of points either. But if Eric Gordon goes, I think it's a real competitive game. If he doesn't, I think Houston's in trouble here. Christian Wood, I highly doubt he goes tonight. And then as far
Yeah.
as fantasy, though, I do like this game for fantasy. Houston's a great pace up spot, so you're going to get good value on like Derrick Rose, Alex Burks, some of those guys, and Sengun, who just went off last night, man. In the absence of Christian Wood, is a must play tonight if we get Wood out again.
Yeah.
So yeah, Quickly's healthy. Fournier. Yeah, there's some good value here. But the Eric Gordon news would really sway my decision on a side here. No Eric Gordon. This is Knicks all day. If he plays, I think we got a competitive game on our hands. I could even see the Houston winning it.
Yeah, all you need is about 2 or 3 more players out for Houston if there's health and safety protocols
Yeah.
in effect, and that game is canceled. right? That game will be canceled. They already have people out. You've got House out, that's been indefinitely. That's old news. But Gordon, Wood, Porter indefinitely. You don't have the players here at this point, right? Not unless you're gonna do something with John Wall.
Yeah, bring the guy back, man.
Yeah, free John Wall, man. Hashtag free John Wall. I don't know what the hell is going on, bro, but he's not playing. So yeah, this game here, as terrible as the Knicks have looked, I just don't want to lay 7.5 points away against Houston, even though Houston's looked bad, but they could turn it up at any given second. So they do have some stars that could probably do something, but yeah, it's a no play for me. Yeah, man. And the last game that we do have in effect here is the Wizards at the Suns, man. Um, Wizards at the Suns. I get that right? Yeah, my bad. Wizards at the Suns here. We got the Phoenix Suns minus 8.5. They're 215 over under here. I tell you what, man. I think this is a Sun spot. I really do. I think this is a Sun spot. I really like the Suns here. The Wizards are off their own back to back. 214 seems like it should be an easy game for Phoenix. These guys play Iron Man basketball at that. I don't see why the Suns don't get up for this game. Washington should be tired. They should be mad that they let that game go yesterday against Sacramento. Sacramento ran them up and down the court. I don't think there's any problem at all with the Suns covering the 8.5 here. Wizards are 0-4 and 1 ATS in their last 5 games, following an ATS loss. Wizards are 0-3 and 1 in their last 4 when their opponent allows 100 points or more in their previous game. Man, Wizards are ice cold right now. Ice cold. This will be their first meeting this year. Phoenix has already smacked them that game back in April. Of course, it's last year, but that was 134 to 106. I don't see why they don't do it again. Phoenix, man, is on their own little losing streak. They don't play until the 18th, but the games they play at Utah, at Brooklyn, then at New York Knicks, which will probably be their next win against the Knicks. So I see them losing this game easily. I see them losing to Utah very easily. And then Brooklyn, you might be in that 10-day, at that 10-day point where you have some people back here. Phoenix Suns, man, they lost to the Clippers, which was kind of crazy. I thought Phoenix would get them that game, but they did play a really hard game against Boston. And then it was the first of their back-to-back in which they turned around and beat Portland in overtime, 111 and 107. I do believe now you've got a time to regroup here. You do have some people out for Phoenix. You still, well, they're saying probable. I think, well, nope, he's not probable. I was going to say, I think you might get some play out of Jalen Smith. He's a young big who I've always liked a lot, even wrote pieces on him back in the day, a couple of years ago while he was getting drafted. But I wanted to see him come alive. But all in all, I do believe Phoenix gets it done. The 8-5 or the 8.5 points that they're laying is not that bad to me on a back-to-back. What do you think about this game?
I think this is Phoenix all day. I think they cover the spread, but I got no problem just laying the chalk on the money line here. Phoenix not losing this game at home. Yeah, and as far as DFS goes, though, we got a slight issue with DFS. Is Chris Paul got priced up way too high based off his last game. And, Ayton's in a pretty good spot here at 8,800.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anything on this Washington side. So they're just one of those teams. Beal went off last night for 30, but that's about all he did. And nobody else on the team even remotely came close to value. So, yeah, I'll probably get on some Ayton here. I don't think Gafford or Harrell are big enough for him. So,
yeah,
I think Ayton does what he wants. But, yeah, I'll probably go Phoenix money line here tonight, lay the chalk, and take the sure thing here. So
when Ayton's in, is there even the tiny bit of value on McGee at all, or do you just automatically take him out right as soon as Ayton comes back in?
Yeah, same with like Drummond and Philly. If Embiid plays, he just doesn't get enough minutes. If Embiid's out, he's the must play of the night.
He's a must play.
Right. Yeah, same with McGee. So if Ayton was to be ruled out, you got to put McGee in. He's getting you like 10x on your price. So when he plays those kind of minutes.
Yeah, interesting. Well, yeah, man, that's 4 games out of 5, like we've spoken earlier. Toronto's not going to get up tonight. Their game is postponed because Chicago's in COVID protocols. They've also implemented the 50% capacity in their Scotia Arena now. So those are the 4 games. I don't have any looks or have strong leans. That one lean would be to Brooklyn, but I'm just not there yet. But I do have a look, and that's going to be on Phoenix at 8.5. It is very early, man. So we don't have any injury report news just yet. We don't know what's going to happen. So don't run to the window, especially in the NBA. So yeah, I just have Phoenix at 8.5. Do you have any locks in your lineup besides Aiton and KD?
Probably it's going to have to be these Brooklyn value guys. I think Claxton's going to be a lock tonight. I think Sengun for Houston's a lock
Yeah.
tonight.
Okay.
So that's kind of where you're at. You're going to have to figure it out because you only get 2 center slots here, but that's where we're at right now. But KD, Sengun, Claxton, who might have power forward eligibility, I got to see. And yeah, that's about it, man. We're going to wait on some news though, and fill in the rest here.
That's about it, bro. That's it, man.
Definitely.
Next thing you know, man, we'll get up. It's like, hey, the NBA is back into Orlando bubble because shit keep popping off. This Rona just running. It's not walking, it's running. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that is the show, man. You can find me. It's Duro on Twitter. You can find my boy Corey Getting Green on Twitter. We will be putting up our plays later in the day. But as of now, there's nothing really major going on. Always good to talk with you early in the morning, Corey. Any last words before we get out of here, sir?
No, let's get back in the green though. Let's do it.
Absolutely, man. And with that said, y'all have a great rest of the day. Make it a great day, man. We will see you on tomorrow.